Let's watch this. Do not buy the Freedom Phone.
Wait until you see this one. So just last week, a 22-year-old Bitcoin millionaire called Eric Finman announced to the world the Freedom Phone, a fully private smartphone, completely free of censorship and snooping by the big tech companies like Facebook and Twitter, and at the same time, one that is supposedly comparable to the best smartphones on the market. This thing flew. It almost immediately hit the trending page, and in terms of likes, shares, conversation, people were passionately excited about it, including some pretty...
People were passionately excited about it. I mean, that's how you know this guy is not... That's how you know this guy is not like big into politics. It's just like everyone that was excited about this is a fucking dumbass or a conservative grifter and was literally paid to. Candace Owens comes to mind, who tweeted about the Freedom Phone from her iPhone. Literally just underneath her tweet about the Freedom Phone and how she's going to get it, it said, tweeted from iPhone. So,
well-known influencers who've basically been telling people to drop what they're doing and to buy this right now. So I did. Quite literally, and paid $500 for a Freedom Phone. And thanks to Dashlane for sponsoring this video. So, this has got to be some next-level smartphone, right? After all, the last Freedom Phone we saw was... Oh, right, yeah. Anyways, just to give you a bit of context...
Anyone that sells their material as like a way to free yourself is just basically grifting on dumbass conservatives with disposable income.
Eric's reason for creating this phone was apparently inspired by the Jan 6th riots in the US. You might remember.
Yeah. I mean, there you go. I created a phone because I was inspired by the January 6th insurrection.
Donald Trump
but like in a pro-insurrection capacity.
And so a lot of his supporters stormed the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. to try and overturn that result. Now, what made this whole thing even more controversial was that a lot of this rioting had been coordinated on a free speech app called Parler. And so after all this happened, Google and Apple removed this app from their stores to discourage more people from joining in. This was the pivot point. Eric's whole message is that this was an unacceptable form of censorship, and that people should be able to say the things they want to say and use the apps they want to use. So he's created a phone that allows them to do that. Okay, I mean, I can also see the other side of that coin, but yeah, just putting the political premise aside, freedom itself is a fairly easy philosophy to get behind. So let's see what we're working with here. If you were an uninitiated consumer who didn't really know much about phones but saw the inspirational Twitter video and decided you want to buy, are you actually getting more freedom? Well, sort of. Maybe. The entire pitch here rests on this supposed new operating system that he's built, aptly named Freedom OS. It's basically Android, but with a lot of the snooping apps like Google Chrome taken out and replaced with non-snooping alternatives like DuckDuckGo. Bit misleading that he's pitching it like it's some revolutionary software he's built from scratch, but we'll let that slide. And just to give the guy a little bit of credit, he's not wrong in that there are certain apps that Google has censored, that this phone's app store, called Patriarch, will allow you to download. And the kind of finishing message that he's leaving people...
The moment that you slap a SIM card on there, hey, Motagata, thank you for the 20 gifted subs. The moment that you slap a SIM card in that bad boy, it's over, okay? Lest we forget that it's also a phone made in China, and Chinese manufacturers do have an interesting history with potentially putting a little bit of creepy crawlers in there to monitor your activity if they feel like it. Not saying that this one has it, who knows? But like I said, the moment that you put a SIM card, yeah, but a SIM card only spies on location, not all data. Okay, bro. Yeah, just location. You're right. It just pings your cell tower. With respect to the cell tower, totally not your messages. Totally not like pretty much every single thing, dude. You are literally wrong. Okay. You're actually wrong. Let alone the reality that, even if you somehow were able to, have a SIM card, I guess, where it doesn't really matter, and you're somehow avoided the tracking. It's still, you're just basically getting applications that you normally. You're basically just getting applications that you normally would have, or really shittier versions of those applications that no one wants to use because, ironically, they don't you know, they don't really,
Happy Earth
no
Day.
one really wants to fucking go on Parlor because it's all pedos and Nazis or Nazi pedos.
People with is that Freedom Phone does everything your current phone
Happy 12
does,
months and
except
happy
censor
birthday,
and spy on
Boomers.
you. But this is where things start to go wrong. I mean, just to begin with, we can't verify that statement because we've got no idea what it does. There's not a single spec on the website. You don't know what processor you're getting, what cameras, what battery, and instead under each feature category, there's just a buy it now button. Like, even if this is made for people who may not care about the specs, for $500, they should at least be able to know what they're paying for. All we have is this little quote that says, best phone in the world. But who said that? Is this guy quoting himself? Also, isn't it just a little ironic, given the whole anti-big tech stance, that this product was announced via a tweet, and then the buy page actively encourages you to sign up to and share using these big tech platforms? But okay, just putting all that aside for a second, the concept of Freedom OS is fine. It's just, from everything we can see so far, it looks almost identical to an already existing free piece of software called Lineage OS. That would be a best case scenario. See, this Finman guy's had a pretty interesting story. He basically made a deal with his parents that if he could turn $1,000 into $1 million via investments, they would let him skip college. And he did. He put all of that 1,000 he had into Bitcoin back when Bitcoin was worth nothing, and when that blew up, his 1,000 ballooned into well over 2 million. That's all.
That's it? That's all he did? That's it? I love crypto, dude. It's so great. It's like crypto's like the Jimmy Dore of finance, okay? It just is a magnet for all the cranks. Just like Jimmy Dore's a magnet for all the cranks, like political cranks. DeFi is like a magnet for all of the finance cranks.
It's all well and good, congratulations to him, but the point is, it doesn't in any way qualify him to be responsible for all of your data. He might be a little more reputable than one or two CEOs I know. But seriously, if this guy actually has built his own operating system like he's claiming, then that is a whole other security risk in of itself. Let alone the fact that, can you really rely on Eric Finman to provide you with the regular security updates your phone needs to protect itself? And if you're not getting those updates, then having a completely unfiltered app store, where nothing is censored, even if it's malware, could...
What also doesn't make sense is like his parents were like, it's fine, you don't have to go to college if Bitcoin blows up. How did Bitcoin blow up to a degree that like his parents were saying like, you don't have to, here's $1,000 if you can turn it into $1 million. You don't have to go to college. Like, when did they say that? In fucking, when he was like a fetus? Like, you know what I mean? That absolutely makes no sense. Like, did people just like take that and go, oh yeah, this origin story seems legit? He would have had to, according to the article, he bought it at age 12. He bought Bitcoin at age 12 because he was like, I'm not going to go to college at age 12. So his parents made that wise financial decision.
could create more problems than it solves. This is probably the reason for articles like this, bit harsh, but the point stands that nothing this guy has done so far in his career demonstrates that he is in any way an authority on security, let alone the fact that who knows what kind of support you're going to get here. There's no contact number for the company, and the only email address doesn't answer, or at least has left me on red for 3 days straight. Besides, this whole idea of giving people the option to use apps that have been banned, it's not a selling point. If I wanted to download Parler on my Android phone, even though I can't find it on the Google Play Store, all I'd need to do is to rock up to the Parler website and just get it from there, for free. And even this Patri App Store itself, we can see from these celebrity endorsement videos what the interface looks like. And that's enough to all but confirm that all this store is a rebadged version of an already existing free app. And if you are enjoying this video, then a sub to the channel would be invaluable. Didn't see that one coming, did you? Oh yeah, and let's talk about these celebrity endorsement videos actually. Because as soon as this phone was announced, we saw a whole load of high-profile people drop videos that basically said, this is the best thing since sliced bread. We had Candace Owens, who's an American author, who said,
Freedom phone. Literally, I'm holding a phone that is not controlled by Apple Google. I think this is like the most amazing thing ever.
yes, Candace.
Shot with her iPhone, posted on to fucking YouTube or Twitter.
So am I.
You need to get this phone.
I don't know.
Okay, how dare you, dude? Okay, listen, Mr. Who's the Boss. You are comparing an actual technological marvel, okay? That is literally, like, how dare you compare this Freedom Phone grift
Yes, Candace.
to a Nokia 3310. That is one of the most impressive pieces of technology that has ever existed, featuring the game Snake. Okay, great operating software, has the best video game of all time outside of Tetris. Literally made by unobtainium. Okay, indestructible. Those phones will still work. Okay, those phones, you could drive a Toyota Hilux over it and that phone would still operate. If you dropped the Nokia 3310 or a 5150, or no, 5110, it would literally come out of the other side of the planet, okay? If you dropped it, if you slammed it onto the ground, it would dig a hole into the fucking core of the earth and then come out from the other side of the planet. That is how powerful those phones are. And then you could still have a conversation on that phone. And before Patriot app runs on AWS, probably.
So am I.
You need to get this phone.
I don't know, Candace. Need is a pretty strong word. I need food. I need water. I probably don't need an unknown spec $500 notched rip-off phone. And clearly neither do you. This girl spent a good minute talking about how easy it is to switch her SIM over and how it's the first thing she did from her iPhone. And yet, her tweets after this video are still coming from an iPhone. Oh yeah, and how could I forget?
You can get 10% off by using just my first name, Candace. If you use the code Candace, if you use the code Candace at checkout.
There are plenty more of these endorsement videos, but probably the funniest one is from a girl called Anna Kate. It's literally 30 minutes of pure gold. I kind of wish I could show you the whole thing, but I'll settle for highlights. For starters, she has no idea what it is.
It's an Android? I don't think it's an Android. Is it an Android? I'm not really sure.
Well said.
There is no face recognition, which I love.
What's next? It doesn't make calls, which I love. Face recognition is a useful feature. If you don't like it, you can always turn it off.
So I like that it...
This guy doesn't understand. When you have face recognition technologies, the government is spying on us. I mean, there is some truth to that, but also, like, you're kind of fucked regardless. You know what I mean?
very much reminds me of an Apple phone.
It's an Android. Oh, yeah, and don't forget...
If you want to get it, use code KATE. You'll get 10% off.
It doesn't take long to figure out why these people are involved. Turns out the Freedom Phone company has set up an affiliate scheme that pays promoters
Oh, that's perfect. They literally made a MLM out of it, dude. God, it's so transparent. It is such an obvious fucking grift. It's just, oh, I love this. I love it, dude. The product itself is a reskinned $200 phone that you can get from China. Okay, that would run all of the applications you want it to run. And because it's like really dumb for you to purchase that on its own, you got to associate it with a whole bunch of like weird you know, points of identity, like, oh, freedom. I'm buying this because I'm a conservative patriot, brother. Like, that's why. So I can go on the pedophile Nazi apps. And then that's not enough either. So you have to get the conservative grifters to come on and promote it.
Hells yeah.
And then that's not enough either. So then on top of that, you have to literally set up a multi-level marketing scheme, dude. It's great. It's great.
$50 per sale, which means that, let's say I made a video telling you to drop what you're doing right now and buy it, and let's say 20,000 of you actually went through and placed an order, that would be $1 million. But this is the worst bit. So far, all we've gathered is that all the phone's main selling points aren't really selling points, but this is where it goes from bad product to scam. See, this is an America First phone, right? This thing's entire angle is that your data is yours, get away from spyware, etc. Even the logo is based on a US flag, except it's actually built by a small phone company in China. The one country that Donald Trump, who's almost like the supposed inspiration for this phone, accused of spying. The guy even went as far as to completely ban Chinese Huawei for this exact reason. Finman's justification was that, well, it's impossible to build a phone top to bottom in the US right now, citing the fact that Motorola struggled with this exact same thing. Hey, maybe that would be an issue if, you actually built this phone yourself. But it gets worse. In an interview with Daily Beast, he let loose that the company he was working with was in fact UmiDigi, known for their shockingly low cost and absolutely not their reputation for security. Oh, and would you look at that? UmiDigi already has a phone that looks exactly like yours, the A9 Pro. The notch is the same, the buttons are the same, the camera layout exactly the same. These are not two different phones. So what you actually mean when you say you worked with UmiDigi is that you went onto Alibaba and you ordered 1,000 phones for $100 each. I mean, by this logic, Tim Cook and I are best friends because I've been ordering his iPhones for the last 5 years. Just to give you some perspective here, while a company like Samsung might make 20% profit per phone, Xiaomi might make 10% or maybe even 5%, this guy is out here trying to make a 500% markup by only adding features that you can already get for free. Finman is
You deserve it. Conservatives deserve to get fucked over and over again, like with little schemes like this. Honestly, they really do. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad. You deserve it. You're so desperate to go on the pedophile app. Like, you're so desperate to go, like, talk to other pedophile Nazis that you're just going to pay $500 for some fucking Chinese phone that you could buy for $100 with, like, less amenities and specs than, like, comparable phones. Then you deserve it. You deserve to get fucked.
tried to justify this $500 price tag by
it's called the free market, baby.
The phone features customized hardware and improved memory, but we know what that really means. He's gone onto the store, clicked this button, and then clicked this button. But what makes it even funnier is the fact that the UmiDigi A9 Pro is not even one of the company's current models. It's a phone from 2020, and the chipset inside of it, the MediaTek Helio P60, has been known to be vulnerable to authentication bypass attacks. This isn't the product of someone who actually cares about privacy, it's the product of someone who's trying to take advantage of people who aren't as tech savvy, and who just don't realize that A, the hardware inside is incredibly cheap, and B, that they can get all of these apps that are on here for free anyways. It's tricking people into thinking they're buying a US-centric device, when actually they might as well have just imported a phone from China.
I mean, he's a shark from day one. Oh, I'm a Bitcoin millionaire because I put $1,000 to bypass college. Like, first he fucked over, first he was, not fucked over, but like he duped a bunch of dumbass like finance liberals to believing in him. And now he's doing the same thing to like even dumber people.
China, and used all the extra money to feed their family for a month. On the subject of dodgy online happenings, this is Dashlane. And
Good shit. This was a great video by Mr. Who's the Boss. One funny thing I've noticed with that guy, that dude, is that he just hasn't been able to figure out he just hasn't been able to figure out like what kind of
free anyways. It's tricky.
What kind of glasses works on his face, okay? Like, look at this. When he was younger and he was on TV talking about how he's like a Bitcoin millionaire. Like, what's going on, dude? Absolutely, what's happening, brother? Maybe you should just go back to the drawing board instead of doing these, like, little grifts and shit. Just go back to the drawing board and try to figure out what to wear on your face first, okay? I love that. It is drop shipping. I mean, basically, he's doing. What is this? A Redditor on r/Last of Us 2 sent death threats to himself and blamed us. Girlfriend reviews. What?